Welcome to Hope and Belonging Highlight. I'm Allison Wickline Burns, and joining me for today's highlight is Melissa Cook. She's a regional manager of foster care at DePaul. Melissa, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Today, we are going to be discussing kinship care and DePaul's kinship care services. So, first, let's just start with what is kinship care and how does it differ from traditional foster care?
So, kinship care is something that the state of Virginia, luckily, is starting to really focus on, and it is placing children with relatives or even what we would call a fictive kin. So, somebody important in that child's life, like possibly a teacher, someone from church, a coach, anybody that has natural connections to that child that is willing to provide care for them as opposed to them being placed in the foster care system through a foster home. So those individuals can be or those children can be placed with those individuals either through a protective order or they can actually be approved as a foster home, which would mean they would go through background checks, training, different things that would help them meet criteria to be able to provide for that child. So our agency can actually approve individuals as a foster parent specifically for that child if that is something that the local Department of Social Services requests for us to do.
So you mentioned that, we are hearing more about kinship care now. It is more a focus kind of at the state government level as well. What would you say is what are those benefits? Why is kinship care such an important piece in the child welfare system and improving the child welfare system?
So it's always a priority for the local Department of Social Services to keep children in situations and with people that they're familiar with. The first thing that agencies try to do if a child cannot stay in their home or with their caregiver is to find a relative or someone close. The last resort is always to put a child in foster care because the agency recognizes the importance of those relationships and those connections for that child. So that's when typically they will do that search and try to find someone that that child can go to. Because again, it's always better for the child if they're able to stay where they know, where they're comfortable, in their school, in their neighborhood, or at least be able to have some of those things as opposed to completely removing them from all of that. That is always should be the last resort. It's been shown that children do better if they're able to stay with people that they know and people that they're comfortable with, just as opposed to being transitioned to someone completely new in their lives. That's such a loss for them. And while it does happen, best case scenario is to be able to find someone who can care for them that they know, and that they are able to continue relationships with and maybe even continue relationships with their biological family or whoever they couldn't stay with because of DSS involvement.
So, how does our kinship care program work? So, when you walk in the doors at DePaul, if your family is in this type of situation or you're caring for a family member or something like that, how does it work when they walk in the door at DePaul?
So we have two types of kinship programs. The one kinship program is the one that I have been speaking of, which is the local Department of Social Services actually ask for us to approve that home as a foster parent. So that individual or individuals will go through our pre-service training, we'll go through a background checks, we'll go through all of the process that a typical therapeutic foster parent would through our agency. The difference is they are approved only for that child. They're not approved to take any child that we might get a referral from. It is solely child specific for whoever that relative is. So they are then approved as a foster parent, and they then receive all the services, both case management wise and financially, that any other foster parent through DePaul would. It's just they are only approved for that child, but they meet the same standards as any other foster parent we have. The second kinship related program that our agency currently has is called Strengthening Connections. This is a grant funded program. It is one that we are one of the only ones in the state to offer this program because it is something that our agency has been able to obtain grants for and developed over the past 5 years. And what this program is to support families in the community that are caring for a relative and might be having some struggles, whether it's they need help getting the child's birth certificate, they need help getting the child in school, they might need some financial assistance, which if we have available, we're able to provide minimal kind of monetary financial support. It really is an opportunity for that family to receive additional case management services at no cost to the family and at no cost to, let's say, if a DSS worker referred them or someone at a local community program referred them, it's completely no cost to anyone because it's grant funded. So we are able to take those referrals, work with those families, and connect them with different services in the community because the reality is the system, if you're not familiar with it, can be very overwhelming and it's hard to navigate. So this allows families an opportunity to have someone that can help them and get through some of those barriers or maybe understand the process a little bit better. And it's meant to be a temporary program. It's not a long-term program. We like to try to work with families about 3 to 6 months. Really, 6 months is the longest we prefer to work with the family. Again, it's really meant to be a stopgap in what they might have going on. It's not meant to be a long-term service. So it really is, this is different than the quote unquote kinship family program in that we don't approve anyone to be a foster parent in this program. It is solely just case management for individuals and families that come through our Strengthening Connections program.
Okay, so if anyone is watching this and thinks, okay, I might be interested in that program, or we might want to pursue becoming a foster parent for this child that we're caring for that is, somehow connected to us, what do you recommend? How do they reach out? How do they get in touch?
Absolutely. So the first thing to do is if it is a situation of wanting to potentially be a foster parent for a relative or a fictive kin that they might be aware of, they can always reach out to me through our main number at the Roanoke office. And then as far as for the Strengthening Connections program, we actually have we have a specific email that they can reach out to. And it's just kinship at DePaulCR.org. And those emails come to me. I manage the program, so I would be able to get that information and refer it out to our staff to be able to determine if it meets our qualifications for that program.
Okay, and then remind me as well and our viewers what areas are we offering kinship care services? So, what communities are we looking at right now that we can offer services
Right.
in?
So right now, we currently primarily most of our grants are in the Roanoke City area. We do have some grants that cover our entire footprint. So it could be anywhere from Charlottesville, Harrisonburg, Lynchburg, Roanoke, Christiansburg, even our Big Stone Gap, Abington, and Cedar Bluff offices are able to provide those kinship services. But again, primarily the Strengthening Connections program is out of the Roanoke area. And we're really looking to provide services to Roanoke City residents, and we can possibly also consider Roanoke County, Salem, if that Benton, if that those referrals did come in, we can definitely always review them. And even if we're not able to provide, again, the financial support if the family needed it, we can at least provide the case management to those families. We don't ever want to turn anyone away if there's something that we can do. So I would always encourage people to go ahead and reach out, and then we can review the situation and just go from there.
Okay, well, thank you for chatting with us about kinship care. And, there's a lot more to it, a lot more that we could discuss. And I will make sure we have a link to our kinship care services information and just some kinship care resources on our website at depaulcr.org HB highlight. So you guys can find that there. Melissa, thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And stay tuned. We will be back next month with our next Hope and Belonging highlight. Thank you.